How's it going, everybody? Moonsong here. Yow! So today I will be talking about the South African regionals that happened recently. Well, recently it was today actually. So I went there today. I just got back home now from it. It's been a long, exhausting day of hours of gameplay, but it was really exciting. Me personally, I played Paleozoic frogs. I was the only Paleozoic frog player there, so represent, yeah. But I really enjoyed myself. There were a lot of interesting decks there. There were only five Spiral players. I mean, it is South Africa, so it's not big. It's not like USA or Europe or anything. There were five Spiral players, three Trickstar players. There were quite a number of Pendulum Magician. I think that was the big thing. That was the big fear over here. There were some Dino decks. There were Metapho Gokis even. There was what else? There was DDDs. There were two DDD decks, and one of them did really, really well. I was really impressed. And I want to mostly talk about the top 8 and some of the things that were in the top 8 which were really interesting, which I think could really make a good impact on the meta, and some of the cards that were really used that were quite spicy, in fact, and I didn't even know they existed or were used in sort of meta play today. So the cards that were in the top 8 were the three of them were Spiral, of course, because Spiral. Then there was one Trickstar player. He's a good friend of mine, Toasty Tman. You deserved it. I'm just so proud of you, bro. You really deserve to be in the top 8. He came third, so I'm pretty proud of him. He was the only Trickstar player that did really, really well and came third. So I'm really impressed. Then there was also... What else was there? There was one Pendulum Magician player. There was an Invoked deck, and I think it was the only Invoked deck in the entire tournament. And then there was also a Magical Musketeer Toon deck, which was a really interesting take on the deck, because obviously Magical Musketeers, they search when they get their power. So then the Toon cards, you can play Toon Table of Contents, which is really, really good. I'm just checking what other decks there were. Oh, and then we had 60 card Lightsworn, which, as we know, that's started to make quite an impact in the meta these days, and I'm pretty impressed with what's happened. So first of all, I want to talk about the decks that only managed to make the top 8 and didn't go any further. The first one was Invoked. The Invoked was did really well. As we know, they played a lot of hand traps, so they can out Spirals pretty well. This player had a lot. He had, the 4 Invoked core. He played 2 Invocations. He played Gamma, which is obviously for the hand traps and everything. And he was actually the last player I played in the final round, and we were actually playing for the top 8 spot. Unfortunately, Dupe Frog is not good to draw, so yeah, that was just great. Then there was the 60 card Lightsworn player. I didn't really see much of his games, but I heard that his deck was super fast and really, really good, and Minerva was quite a problem in that game. Then we also had one of the decks that was played was Pendulum Magicians, which I think right now is one of the most consistent decks of the format and has done really well in this format. I'm impressed that not more made it, but I played against one Pendulum Magician deck, which gave me quite the anti-spell was hard on them, let's just say that. And then one really interesting deck that caught my eye was Magical Musketeer Toons. Now this is really interesting because you can actually go into Toon plays and Magical Musketeer, and with Toon Kingdom on the field, you can actually protect your monsters from being destroyed. Now, we know Magical Musketeers only sit on one monster, and they usually play Ties of the Brethren and stuff like that. And with Toon Table of Contents, you can actually really do stuff with this deck. I mean, because you activate Table of Contents, search for a Toon World, and then your Magical Musketeer goes off to search for other cards, which I was impressed. And apparently this guy didn't even have all 3 Caspars. I think he only he only managed to play 2. So it's really good that it made it this far, and the fact that it managed to be quite a few decks, I was pretty impressed. Then we go to the top 4, which was... Oh, let me go back to the Toons, by the way. He also played this card called Comic Hand. Now this is a really synonymous toon card that can actually take control of one of your monsters and make it become a toon monsters. And the fact that toon monsters can actually just easily jump over your monsters and attack your life points directly could become really hazardous and do really well when it comes to OTKs and stuff like that. Then we get to the top 4, which I am pretty pressed. My friend Toasty Tman, the only trickstar, like the only other deck to make it to top 4, because the rest of the 3 were all spiral decks. The only trickstar to make it to top 4. I watched his duel in the final top 4. I watched him out an entire full spiral board. You know, the Trigate, the Firewall, and the Sleeper, and the Ib. I thought it was amazing. I think I saw him Kaiju, and then he played another Kaiju, and then he managed to Raigeki, and then he managed to play other outs to the board, because, you know, Trickstar is such a small engine that you can actually have so many outs to play other stuff, and you can afford to play all those hand traps and Kaijus. And he played the Windwitch variant, which I think is pretty interesting, because I realized that Spyrals actually struggle to get over a Crystal Wing, and you don't see many Spiral players these days main a Kaiju or anything like that. So Crystal Wing is really tough to get over, because Spiral Sleeper cannot destroy it, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. So it's really, really tough for them to get out. And like maybe Utility Wire will be the one thing to get rid of it, but it is still really tough to out as a Spiral player. I've never played Spirals personally. Not that I am a hater of meta. I love the meta decks, but I just personally didn't like the theme of it. Then the top 3 were obviously Spirals, and I saw one interesting play. Someone used Lullaby of Obedience. Now, I haven't seen this card in play that much in a whole bunch of tournaments, and I don't know, maybe you guys have watched a little more than me, but it was really interesting. I watched him play against the Trickstar player, and when Maxi was chained to him, he actually activated Lullaby of Obedience and called for Lycoris, and he summoned Lycoris on his field, and he managed to special summon a lot of monsters and make his opponent draw and burn himself for at least 2,000 life points before he started his own turn, which was really, really amazing to see. And the top 2 were actually Spirals, and I think the OG, the big card of the day, for me personally, was Borrelot Dragon. I saw that thing so many times it drove me insane. When I played against the Invoked player, it's the one thing that helped him win the game. I even watched one of the top 4, the 2 Spiral players, the one summoned a Borrelot Dragon, and then the other one actually summoned his Borrelot Dragon and took control of the one Borrelot Dragon. So this thing was like the big card of the tournament. It's amazing how many evenly matches were not used, because I think evenly matched, even though it's a really good card, it's really tough to pull off, especially with the fact that you actually have cards that are still on your field, so it will be still tough to actually fully resolve it, if you know what I'm saying. So with regards to how this meta is going out, I still feel like Spirals are still the top tier deck. I feel like Trickstars, personally, I think Trickstars, out of all of them, are my favorite. I could play it if I would, but unfortunately Reincarnation is really hard to deck, and I probably caught onto the hype train a bit too late. But I really admired Trickstars. Maybe I'm being a bit biased because my friend played it, but I absolutely loved it. Reincarnation is insane, and being able to just completely rip your opponent's hand like that is quite brilliant. Now here's one side deck card that I played that I thought was pretty interesting. It is called Marionette Might. Now what it does is it allows you to take control of a fiend or zombie type monster, and it does not target. So what cards are fiends that you know of which are in the meta? One of them would particularly be Spiral Sleeper. So this is a really good card for Spiral Sleeper, because the nice thing is you take control of Spiral Sleeper, you pop Sleeper and 2 cards, and Sleeper still survives because he has the other card attached to it, which I can't remember. What is it? Last Resort? That's it, Last Resort. So I think it's really, a really interesting tech that you guys should look into. And there's a whole array of cards like that I'm hoping to collect for myself. I want to get at least a set of everything. But let me know what your favorite little techie card is to play in the meta that not many people really see. I nearly got cherries, which was kind of a problem, but somehow I managed to out it, so I was pretty psyched about that. So cherries is still really relevant. Unfortunately, I did not see as many ABC players as I hoped to see, so yeah, that wasn't too much of a great thing. My scariest matchup I thought was actually going to be Pendulum Magician, but I didn't have a problem against them. The only problem I had was against the, as I said, the Invoked and DDDs. And I think DDDs is something to actually watch out for, because if you're a really good DDD player, you can actually make good use of the deck, and it can become really powerful. So that is something else to watch out for. And I personally love the way the game is at the moment, because there are so many opportunities to play so many decks, and you see so many people topping these events with the most interesting combinations and interesting decks. So I personally enjoy it. I am scared for when these new Link Brains cards come out. Obviously in TCG we won't be getting it right away. We'll be getting it in little 3 parts. Like we'll be getting 3 in like each set as time goes on. This is what I've heard. And yeah, I love how it is at the moment, and I really am scared for what's gonna happen, especially with Needle Fiber coming out. I think cards to watch right now are going to be things like Quandax, and I don't know, I think Master Plan is a real problem in SPyrals, because if you think about it, Master Plan is an instant +3, and it's double Helix that obviously gets out the Master Plan, and cards like that are a real problem. I mean, Denlong was an instant +3, and that got hit off the ban list right off the bat. And Yangzing players like me, like I love my Yangzings. It's one of my favorite decks ever to play. Yeah, very sad about that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. What is your favorite techie card that you don't see anyone play? What are some of your favorite cards to side deck for certain decks? And what are you going to be playing in the up and coming regionals? Let me know what you think of how the meta is at the moment. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please also put the notification button on over there so you can actually check out when I post more videos. I will be bringing you more Yu-Gi-Oh content. Pretty soon I will give you a deck profile of the Paleos that I decided to play. I do want to change them around a bit because I noticed a couple of things that bricked me, but other than that, I really enjoyed it, and it was a super fun tournament. And I pulled out a Akashic Magician, which I'm pretty excited about. So yeah, I'll check you guys in the next video. Cheers, guys.